Motivation and engagement in language learning. Early models of motivation. L2 motivation research originated in studies by Canadian social psychologists Robert Gardner and Wallace Lambert. In 1972, they suggested that motivation was a significant cause of variability in second language acquisition, and that its effect was unrelated to ability or aptitude. They argued that due to the social dimension of learning a language, L2 learning motivation differs from other types of learning motivation because learners have two needs, that is, to acquire the knowledge of the language and also identify with the target language community and their culture. They proposed two kinds of motivational orientation in L2 learning. An integrative orientation reflecting a sincere and personal interest in the people and culture represented by the other group, and an instrumental orientation reflecting the practical value and advantages of learning in L2. Motivation research in the 90s. During the 1990s, research then examined a more situated analysis of motivation in specific language learning contexts, and examined motivation in classrooms in line with cognitive theories in mainstream motivational psychology. This research analyzed motivation in terms of three levels: the language level, integrative and instrumental motivational subsystems; the learner level, individual motivational characteristics; and the learning situation level, situation-specific motives relating to the course and social learning environment. Temporal structure of motivation. With this more situated analysis of motivation in classroom settings, attention was then given to the unstable nature of motivation during the learning process, and research analyzed the temporal structure of motivation, for example, during engagement in a task, looking at motivation over a learning unit, or across the broader time span of a course of study. A distinction was drawn between motivation to engage in L2 learning, choices, reasons, goals, decisions, and motivation during engagement, how a learner feels, behaves, and responds during the process of learning. In this framework, motivation is examined in three phases: pre-actional, choice, motivation; actional, executive motivation; and post-actional, evaluation. Each of these phases is shaped by internal and contextual motivational influences and mechanisms, which can be enhancing, sense of self-efficacy, positive feedback, or inhibiting, competitive pressure, distracting influences. This model of motivation, however, had two shortcomings. It is assumed that we can clearly define when an L2 learning process begins and ends, and it presumes that the process is isolated, as it does not take other actional processes in which the learner may be engaged into consideration. Thank you for your attention.